So, welcome to another episode of Career Channels, the podcast of CareerSource North Florida. And today we have joining us the whole crew. We have Miss Amanda Ballinger, Miss Debbie Cohen, Mr. Takeem McCrae, and myself, Diane Head. And we wanted to have some conversation today about the questions we get the most. And so this is our FAQ podcast to demystify CareerSource North Florida, because a lot of people have a lot of questions. And honestly, I'm the executive director and I have a lot of questions. So I know it's not easy for everybody else either. So we just wanted to take this opportunity to give just a little insight. So what we'll do, we'll just go around the table. I think we'll start with Amanda. And Amanda, what's your favorite type of music? Because I get that question a lot. What is Amanda's favorite type of music?
All music. If you listen to my playlist, you would think that I was a little cuckoo, because I go from country to contemporary to rap to gospel, a little bit of everything.
Or you could just open up the speaker up front with Takeem, because Takeem is singing up front a lot of times.
Between Takeem and Glenda feeding off of each other in the resource room, it's always a day of entertainment.
Yeah.
So this is just a practice dug, by the way.
And I can
answer. Tell us what your favorite
He's like, I'm in.
My favorite kind of music is R&B. I love R&B. No other genre can do for me what R&B does.
That sounds like a song by itself. You are in love.
Would you like me to write that down for you?
A little rhythm, a little blues.
So right after that will come rap, because I love the aggression and the negativity of rap. It gives me my balance. Well, you can find some positivity in rap too, but usually it gets me going, or it depends on my feelings.
Is that what you listen to when you work out?
Sometimes. It depends. I like for something to move me. So when I work out, a lot of times I listen to pop, because not only does pop move me, but pop gives you a feeling of
youthfulness.
I want to say euphoria, but no, it just puts you in the mind. It's just like easy breezy. I don't care like that. And then gospel. Gospel is always something that I need, because it gets me through tough times.
Keeps us grounded.
Gives you a center point. Debbie, what's your music of choice? What's on your playlist these days?
I don't have a playlist, but I listen to 80s Bon Jovi, Poison. AC/DC.
Oh yeah, see, I could hang with you.
I listen to a lot of that, but I also like some cool easy jazz.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if I'm working out, it's techno. It's that
the
fast.
move. I want you to move.
But if it's yoga, it's a whole nother thing. So
oh yeah,
that's a whole different kind of flow. But that's probably Diane. What about you? What music do you listen to?
Oh, she thought she was like almost there.
We were going to move to the next question.
No,
We were going to talk about Wioa.
Nope.
I like the folksy stuff. I'm listening to this station right now on Apple Music that I've come to know and love. That is, it's called Southern Craft, and it's a little folksy, and it's got some blues, some Delta blues even. So it's a little hodgepodge. Cool. I like it. It's chill. So let's kind of dig in, and we'll just go around the table. I think we all came up with some questions that we want to talk about today.
So the questions I get the most, I think, for Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act is, what kind of scholarships do you offer? Does anyone on the table know what kind of scholarships we offer?
Well, I do know there is a list of locally approved programs. It's on our CareerSource website.
Job.
It has a list of occupations that we offer training assistance for, which our more popular ones are CDL, LPN, and I see a lot of welding. Those are the ones I see the most, but it is a list.
I couldn't have said it better. Thank you so much.
Can I add to that
You
just
sure
real
can.
quick? So even if the occupation that you're looking to go into, if it's in high demand and it's not on our list, we do have a process to get things added to that list. It does take a little bit of time. So it's not, you're going to start school in, 3 months. Oh, let me get it added to the list. It's quite a bit of a process, but just because it's not on the list doesn't mean it can't be added to our list.
And the list is the list, as we're going to call it now, is reflective of our local targeted and in-demand occupations established for our region, which our board looks at annually. So we get a list from the state, but then we also do our own labor market information study and analysis and determine other needs that may not be as apparent because they're a little bit more on the emerging side of things. And so, and then our list will correspond with those programs. Because when we invest in someone, when we offer those scholarships, we want them to, we don't want to train for minimum wage. We want to train for high skill, high wage, in-demand careers where you're not just going to have a self-sustaining job, you're going to have a family-sustaining job or career. Let's say career.
Which goes into the next question. Why do you not offer the program I want to attend? Sometimes those programs are not considered high skill, high wage. Sometimes we have an abundance of nursing programs, for example, in our area, and we don't need to have another nursing program from a provider that may not have the right performance or may be very expensive. Of course, everything's consumer choice, and you can pick whatever institution you want to go to. We just may not be able to provide a scholarship to that institution.
And if I may,
You may.
it looks, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks as though most of the occupations and schools and programs that I cover are more so trade schools, which most of the time are not Pell eligible, because Pell will help those that want to get a bachelor's or just a general AA or a master's degree, doctorate degree. All of that stuff can be the loans or Pell. Yeah, what you think about that?
So my thoughts on that is there are a limited amount of programs on the technical colleges that are not covered by Pell, but a good majority of them are. So our welding program is covered. The nursing programs are covered. Programs that may not be covered might be our CDL program. Anything less than 600 hours of training typically is not covered under Pell. And then if that's the case and someone walks through and wants assistance with those programs based off of their eligibility and the requirements that go there, we could provide some sort of percentage anywhere from, for example, CDL or truck driving program, we provide 80% tuition and fees.
But we do coordinate with Pell. So, so for some programs, the few that we have that are Pell eligible, we coordinate with Pell. So Pell will cover a certain percentage, and we can cover a certain percent, and their grandma may pay a certain percent. We there's other funding streams, and we are a funder of last resort. So, and there's other agencies to meet some needs out there, but when all else has been tried, then we can step in and provide that gap funding.
Yeah.
And as we're talking scholarships, a lot of the other questions I get is, how come someone else got this amount and I only get this amount? We get that question a lot, and a lot of that comes with circumstance. So if you have Pell, for example, if you have 100% Pell, but you need a little extra assistance, and we provide you 25% in a scholarship from us, that allows you the capability of doing those extra things that you needed to do to get finished with school. Others may not be eligible for Pell, and they may get 100% because they're not eligible, either due to a bachelor's degree or their income is just a titch too high to get into that Pell category. Anybody?
But they may have higher expenses, or they may have there may be some medical issues, or they may be recently emancipated from a parent or from a foster parent or a foster home. And so those are some targeted populations that we definitely want to serve and provide them the most range of resources for?
I had something.
Sorry,
So that is the point of, well, is that half of the point of the eligibility documents, and seeing how much everybody making in the household is to
Yeah.
determine how much help they need.
Which leads me to, why do I need all the documents? That's the other question we get. Why do you need my driver's license? Why do you need the social security card? Why do you need my income information? It's not a disqualifier. It helps us determine what priority of service a potential client could be, what kind of and how much we might be able to provide assistance. And it builds that story so that we're able to explain where we spent the dollars and also help build out that plan and build out that budget so that everyone knows, okay, this is what you're getting, this is where we're at. And if we need to refer out to another organization for assistance, we're able to do that in that one-stop shop so that we have everything all together. Any questions on the document?
that goes along with policies that our board has set, because things like our self-sufficiency policy, every board is a little bit different and what they determine is self-sufficient. And so ours is actually a tiered, a strated structure. And so depending on the type of, I won't say that wrong. Pause. So depending on the type of customer that comes in, so are they youth, are they what we consider an adult, or are they a welfare transition customer? Self-sufficiency can look very different. And so we have those categories delineated, and our case management staff have to look at those and determine that they fall within the priority of service that we have.
And at first, I used to say, "Oh my God, these are so many documents."
No fewer than 10.
When I look through it, anytime, if you notice, whenever you're asking someone for help, be it the government, be it whoever you're asking for, they're going to want answers as to, are you who you say you are? One, why are you asking me for help? Can you actually help yourself? Or how much do I actually have to help you? So all of those documents will answer all of those questions.
It does. And a reminder, we are federally funded. So we are accountable to those rules and CFRs, and I'll get to a question later about acronyms, but there's a lot of record keeping we have to do, but we do take security of that information very seriously, and we don't leave information out on desks, and we ensure that it's stored in a safe place, and all of those things the responsible agencies do. So just FYI.
And the final question I get is, how come we don't pay for first semester? I really need help in first semester. And we understand that our best practice has always been, if you complete your first semester, we know that you're going to complete. We need to see a little bit of
Skin in the game.
Skin in the game,
That's
a little bit of
right.
that buy-in, so that we know that when we issue that scholarship to you, you're going to finish, you're going to find employment, and you're going to go to the next step and get that career. So that is a good determination for us. We've tried it other ways, and this seems to get the best outcomes for you, for the client, and also the outcomes that we also need to have. So it's a win-win for everybody.
And just a reminder, it is an investment we make. So, and remember, the investment, we're not taking dollars out of our own pockets. We're taking dollars out of the pockets of the taxpayer to do this. And so we have to be very careful in the risk that we incur, but also ensure that we're going to get the return on investment that the taxpayers, our funders, and everyone else, our communities, our county commissioners, our board members, what everybody wants to see for this, for our communities.
And I think that's fair, because when I think back to my first semester in college, I was not focused at all. Well, I thought.
Tell us more.
I thought, because I had only experienced high school. So I'm going into college with a high school mind. I need to get ready for college in my mind, because It's very much self-driven. If you don't drive, you won't be driving and you will fail out, as a lot of people do in their first semester. So I think that that's fair.
All right, so Amanda, you got a good array of questions for us.
Mhm.
So some of the common questions I get are you a temp agency? So, and I get this from job seekers and employers because I work with both. So does any of you have an answer to that question? Are we a temp agency?
We are not, but we can help. We do work with temp agencies around the area, and they can post positions with us just the same as any employer does because they are an employer, in fact. There is verbiage on the job order that indicates that it's from a no-fee agency. And so indicating that the individual, the job seeker, doesn't have to pay money to go to work. We want to do the most we can to prevent that from happening. You really shouldn't have to pay a whole lot to work.
Yeah, and the verbiage is very predominant on the job order. Job seekers are not going to miss it. And it says position posted by a no-fee posting agency.
Because what a great way to get experience in a lot of different jobs is working for a temp agency, especially if you don't know what you want to do, but you want to, you want to work, you're able to work. Or maybe some people just don't, they like a little something different all the time. They don't want to be tied to one employer, and they like the freedom of a temp agency. So, and that's okay. It's kind of like the gig economy in a way, although it's usually, we do get a W-2 at the end of the year, but it gives you a little bit of extra flexibility.
So the question, or I guess the answer to that question is no, we're not a temp agency. We do have some very good partnerships with temp agencies, and we do service them as our employer. So there is opportunity there. So just because we're not a temp agency doesn't mean you can't be employed through a temp agency with us. Some other questions that I get from our employers is, how do I post a job order? And there's many ways that
do they say it like that?
Yes.
How do I post a
How do
job
I
order?
post a job
But
order?
if somebody just comes in and says, I want to post a job, you can't do that.
No.
They have to do it the right way.
How do I post a job order? Gotta have buy-in,
I
right?
agree.
Goes back
Enthusiasm,
to
right? That's what we're
enthusiasm,
talking about.
buy-in.
Yeah.
So when they ask me how do they post a job order, there's many ways. You can do it directly through our website. There's a job order link. We can post it for you. We can do it over the phone. We have our business service team that goes out in our community and meets directly with our employers, and they may gather the job order information and post it on the behalf of the employer at that time. So there's multiple ways. We try to make it very simple for the employer and try to take that stress off of the employer, that we take care of it. If there's any clarification questions, then we just follow up and make sure that the job orders that we post are in compliance.
And I would say that is one of the biggest and best services that we offer employers, is that they know when they post a job with us and it's posted in the Employee Florida system, that it meets all compliance, EEO compliance, et cetera. So they can feel rest assured that their recruiting reaches a little bit of everybody, and that everything is stated the best way it can be stated.
Yeah, and just kind of piggybacking on that, our local policy is we have 2 staff members that review it, so it's definitely going to be in compliance. And we also send that out to our front end staff, our CDSs, our career development specialists, so that way they know every time there's a new job order posted, they do job matching for those positions. And if they've had anybody coming in that are looking for those positions, they make phone calls. So we have a very one-on-one relationship to try to recruit for the positions that we post on behalf of our employers. So the last one is that I have, or that I came up with, is I get asked sometimes, especially recently from some of our employers, is where's the workforce, or why is it reduced currently? So anybody have any insight on that one?
So they can't find employees. And
Correct.
it's hard. Okay. I think it was something that happened during the pandemic that just changed the game. Like ever since the pandemic came, or during the pandemic, a year after, it just was every time you went to Waffle House or the Denny's, it just was short staff.
You eat out a lot.
I was.
Man.
I was.
He changed that recently.
It was
He got
great.
fruit in the refrigerator.
Well, when I lived in Tallahassee, it was a point in my college time that I did eat out and only eat out. I didn't cook because I didn't really have time to do anything, or I didn't make time. Well, no, I didn't have time.
He's like, there was no
You were
time to
working a
make.
lot.
I
You
did not
were
have
working a
time.
lot.
I was working, I was in school, I was doing this, I was doing that. So I just needed something quick. And a lot of times with employers, well, something changed. Like when people started, it was that time that people started to realize that employers, they have power, but so do I. And so you saw a lot of people doing their own thing, opening their own businesses and doing this and doing that. So employers really just have to make sure that they understand that this is not the 90s, 2000s, or even the 2010s anymore. That if you don't treat your people right, you will not have people to work for you, no matter how much you pay, especially when you don't pay a whole lot. A lot of people look at that now because times are just hard, which times have kind of always been times, but it's just, I know my worth now. That's all.
I think during the pandemic, people decided, I can work from home. I can do this. I can get my side gig can get me through. I also think a lot of people have gone back to do some training and they're looking to reinvent themselves. So what employers are seeking may not be what the talent pool is wanting to do. So it feels like there's a shift in priority of happiness versus
There's a
performance.
balance.
Yeah.
People learn that they could get by potentially with less income and still be happy.
Yep.
And they were able to maybe pay off some bills. It does cost money to go to work, whether it's your clothes, your transportation. And so when we were at our homes for a month, here is about a month, we didn't have those costs. I'm sure some of y'all, I'm not gonna name names, but some of y'all spent some time in your pajamas while you were working.
Hair down. Waist down. All business.
but there's a balance. But also even pre-pandemic, we were what we call fully employed, right? We holy smokes, it was hard to find people. Just like today, maybe even worse than today. There's been study after study done. I'm going to call the name of the company and I'm going to get it wrong, so I'm not even going to say who they are. But they put out a paper basically saying, there's all these reasons why we're where we are. But one of those was that we, as a nation, we failed to reproduce. We didn't replace ourselves very well. And so now, you think about the boomers and I'm going to call you Gen X. I was going to call you the one before that. But
I'm a Gen X.
I'm technically a Gen X also. I'm at the tail end of it. But we just haven't kept up like our grandparents did. And so that means there's a population shortage. And so we can't work like we used to work. And so that brings in the whole idea of automation and walking into McDonald's and ordering at the kiosk.
Or when our grandparents started working versus when I started working, the qualifications that you needed to have were very different.
Yes.
If there were any.
Right.
That is
So
very
it was
true.
much easier for them to do and create what became the norm for
You
everybody.
can get by
that
with
came
a
after.
6th grade education,
Mhm.
right? So the agriculture society that we came from did not need you didn't need to go to school. You might need to read a little bit in order to do some trading at the Post. Can y'all tell I've watched Little House on the Prairie? But you didn't need a lot of, you didn't need to know about machinery. You didn't need to know technology. You did so as much as we do now. So anyway, so I think there's just a decrease in number of people that plays into that also.
I think after hearing all of the, opinions on why the job force is reduced, to me, it just signifies the importance of using your career source, your local career source, because we can help those applicants apply for those jobs that maybe they don't know how to use a computer and they don't know how to submit that application electronically. We have staff here that walk them through and teach them how to do that. And your business service team are going to invest in you and your job orders and help you recruit. So it's just, there's a buy-in there, and our services are very important to be able to change that around, to be able to fill our jobs and our workforce.
You got any more questions?
Yes.
Hakeem, the floor is yours, my friend.
Well. The first question that I have is CareerSource the unemployment/DCF office? No, we are not. We work side by side with a lot of the state agencies and local agencies that assist people, but we are not. So whatever difference you may have with them, or if it's the reason why you got denied or whatever, it's not our fault because the determination is made on their end because it's their system. We do have a high priority line. I'm so glad that we got it because it allows for the customer to talk directly with DEO or unemployment about whatever issues they may be having.
So DEO is Department of Economic Opportunity that links over to the unemployment area. I think the other piece that it's really easy. I mean, we're people, we come in and everyone tells you, go see your career source. So everyone thinks, right, it's CareerSource's fault. It doesn't matter which career source you go to. I'm told I need to come see you, right? So I come see you and you tell me, well, I can't, the screen says from Department of Children and Families says that you're not eligible for. And of course, we get upset, right? Because we're human and Jakeem, you're telling me I can't have what services and benefits I need to take care of whatever I need to do. So you're right, it's not us, but we are that intermediary. We then shift over and say, so how do we get you a job? How do we find you a career so that you can get the thing? Let us help you try and re-navigate through Department of Children and Families.
So you're not dependent on those services.
And Department of Economic Opportunity to get you what you need. If it's still a denial, how do we get you to the next thing? What's that next step in the ladder to get you going? So use us in that fashion. I know it's easy to get frustrated when you need something and you get that bad news from us or the letter that comes in. It's just bad news. And we understand, but we're limited to how we can go any further with those applications.
But we provide the tools and the resources to either help you comply with those state programs or to overcome whatever barriers you have so that you're not as dependent on them.
And yes.
I was just going to add, like for reemployment assistance, you may get a letter stating that you have to come into our local office. And what we do at that appointment doesn't mean that we have the power to approve your claim or make your weeks appear. But during that appointment, we set you up an employment plan, which goes back to what Debbie had said of getting you employment. We help you build the steps, and then we kind of walk with you through that process of becoming employed or whatever your next career choice or training choice may be. And then with DCF, which is Department of Children and Families, which manage the SNAP and welfare transition program, those things we don't approve the cases that come through, but we do help manage the activities that are assigned to you. So there is, there's room for why there is confusion, and we understand that, but we are here to help you and guide you to the next step.
So, and back to unemployment. Now, we do have DEO staff that can look at your case. And we do have, once again, the high priority line, and we do have staff that can assist you through the claim and through what's called the IDME process, but we do not make any decisions on your case. Boom.
And DEO staff cannot enter or change your information. We only have certain privileges of looking at your case, as Takeem said, just to reiterate that.
And the other question I have is, am I guaranteed a job when I come into CareerSource to job search? So a lot of people pass by the CareerSource building and they look at the website and they think, okay, so as soon as I come in here, I'm going to have a job. That may or may not be true for you, depending on how you push yourself, because CareerSource is just a place that assists you get the job. But I can't tell you that you're going to have the job when you leave here. It will depend on how hard you work to get it. That could be you improving your skill set. That can be you trying to look at some contacts that you have, or just trying to look through jobs and applying the jobs, following up, trying to call and see what's the status of your application, et cetera, et cetera.
So I'll add into that. So, we don't decide if you get the job or not. That's our business service team and our staff here. We simply put in the job order and we help recruit for that. That is entirely up to the employer who they employ. Their application process is different depending on what they decide. However, here at CareerSource, we can help you and give you the tools to be the best version of yourself. Of course, the best version of yourself.
I think that's like even better than best.
It is. It's the best,
It's the
best.
best.
It's best. It's like when we say done, it's best.
Yeah. All of that.
So we give you the tools whenever you come in to be the best version of yourself, with resume workshops and interviewing skills. We can do mock interviews where you come in and we can actually walk you through the interview process and then give you feedback on what you may need to improve or what you did great at. So those are some workshops and things that not everybody knows about, so therefore they don't take advantage of. But here at CareerSource, we're kind of like a one-stop shop.
And I would say that not just getting a job, but preparing for a career. Again, people see that transactional stage, you get registered in Employee Florida and you job search. Well, that's great. That's right now. But we do career planning and career development plans, IEPs, individual employment plans. So these are the steps that you take. We're going to talk about SMART goals, and we're going to talk about objectives, and we're going to talk about activities. And it's this whole new language that we talk, but it's in order to develop a plan that you can follow on your own and that can follow you wherever you go. So in 2 years, when you told us that you want to apply for nursing school, then you can go back to your plan and say, oh, I was supposed to do that. I need to be moving on my career plan. So that it's not just one time, it's a career development throughout your life working. And we have tools regardless of what that stage is for you.
So, and to close that question, that I just wanted to say that don't walk into a CareerSource thinking on that day or that week that you will have a job, because a job search took for me 5 months of job search. Sometimes you have to renege and go and work a job that you don't really want to work until you get to the place you want to work. It depends on where your finances are, what you need to do will depend on what you need to do when you come to CareerSource. Also, the person that's working, any person working in CareerSource will only give as much as you give, because they don't have any more to give other than what you give. At the end of the day, it is your choice. It is your life. They are your goals. And
right. So if you don't want to do the assessment that we offer you, then there may not be as much input that we have, or as many, there's a limit to how we can assist you. So we'll engage with you as much as you engage back with us. And so if you're limited in your time, or you're limited in your scope, or you're not going to follow up on referrals, or there's something wrong with every job we present to you, then then that's going to be problematic. So, being open to new ideas and engaging with us, answering our questions, and being forthcoming and open and honest with us helps us help best you. Helps us help you best.
Right.
There we go.
Best word.
Help you be the best
The
you.
best you.
And finally, and I promise I'm gonna close this question after this. The more that you have on your skill set, like if you have a high school diploma, social degree, this license, this certificate, the more you have, the easier it will be to job search, and the more your earning potential will be. So don't just settle for a high school diploma, because when I was in high school and I heard them say, go to college, do this, do that, I used to think in my head, why do they always say we have to go to college? Why do we always have to do something else? Why can't I just go to high school and just jump out and get a job? Because the market is very different. You can't just go from high school and go to a job and make a bunch of money. That's just not what it is. You have certificates that you can get, you have degrees, you don't necessarily have to go to college, but try to get something on your resume that can increase your earning potential. And now move on.
So I want to jump in on that. So I got a couple comments on that. So lifelong learning, I mean, almost anyone that walks through the door is lifelong learning. They just don't know it. When someone comes in and says, "Why don't you help me? I need to get me a job." Well, and I know we always say, well, we'll help you get your job. We'll help you invest in you, because if you invest in you, you're likely to get what you need. So take the time to truly listen. If you truly want a job, you truly want to do, find a career pathway, take those dreams and turn them into reality. Take the time up front to slow down and invest. You know that the story of the tortoise and the hare, and these guys have heard me say it tons of times, slow and steady wins the race. It's the same thing in getting into that career pathway. Slow and steady so you don't have to take those back steps. And occasionally we always take a few steps back, but as you're working slow and steady and you're working and you're finding your way forward, you have time to map out where you want to go and how you want to get there. Let us help you with the resources we have. Let us help you minimize some of that time and doing rework by coming in and saying, hey, I need a job. So yeah, we might take that job that we don't really want initially just to get it going. And then once it's going and we work on that next step. So say, for example, just a cashier job. There's nothing wrong with cashiering. I did it. It's great. It did what it needed to do for me when I needed it to do. So do the cashiering, and then I went to college, and that put me through part of my college, and then I went a different route because I went into the military. But there are tons of ways to get to where you want to get to. You just need to talk with someone to help you build the plan. Let us help you.
That's right. And just to backtrack, our RESCA appointments, that's what I was going to say, I'm sorry. The reemployment eligibility, I can't remember, never mind. RESCA, so the DEO selects certain people for an RESCA appointment. And in the letter that you get, it may say that your benefits may be severed, which may be true or not. But the point is this, the appointment is, the reason why they choose the people they choose is because they see and they feel like, okay, they may have a hard time getting a job in the 3 months that we're going to give them unemployment. So let's set them up where they can create goals, they can get job search assistance, resume assistance, and all of this in a 5-hour appointment. It is for you. So if you don't come, you will be missing out on a really good appointment, because it is really good and it incorporates a lot. Now I'm moving on to the next question. So the next question I have is, when I call the CareerSource phone number, is it a way that I can get to the specific office that I'm trying to speak to? So this question almost immediately upsets me when a person asks me, can I speak to a certain office? But I can't get upset, because before I was working here, I didn't know that staff rotated from office to office. So it's a phone, it's like a mobile office phone. Every staff member has a mobile office phone, because we're steadily moving. We could be at a job fair, we could be at another office, we could be a million places, because we move. And
Nobody sits still here.
And we serve different people, different places. So when you call, please understand that whatever person you call, if they're on staff, they will 9 times out of 10 be able to help you with whatever you're calling for. Don't get accustomed to a certain person in our place to help you because that person may be busy, that person may be doing this, that person may be doing that, because we all have different workloads and things that we do. Secondly, usually I will try to transfer and just allow you to leave a voicemail, only because when you tell people that the person is busy, they don't trust that the person will get back to them. They think, okay, they're just telling me that because they're on the phone, they're trying to get me off the phone, because that's what I used to think too. And I can't really be mad at them for thinking that, which is why I make the effort in trying to see if I can get the person myself before I do the transfer anyway, and then just tell them, okay, well, if you want to leave a voicemail, you can leave a voicemail. Third and last, if you're having trouble, or if you're trying to speak to a specific case manager, that's the last part. If you want to speak to a specific case managers are probably one of our busiest people that we have working here, because they have a lot of cases that they are working and things that they're still trying to do. So the same thing you're trying to talk to them about, a million other people are talking to them about it. So if you can just be just a little patient, or if it can't wait, you can try and come into the office and ask. That'll kind of move things quicker. But in the end, you and all of your concerns and comments will be dealt with when they're dealt with.
So we're going to wrap up. I've got just a few questions to take us home and to end us for today. So thank you all. That was all very insightful. So questions I get are, what's your annual budget? So we serve 6 counties in rural North Florida for somewhere around 1.7, 1.8 million a year. That's it. And I don't mean that's it, because we do a lot with that money.
We do.
And we're able to get a lot of outcomes and a lot of positive impacts to our communities. But it is one of the smaller budgets in the state. So we are challenged with that, but we try to make the most out of every single penny that we have and make sure that those pennies get to the folks that need them the most. So I also get asked, how do I get involved, or how do I get to be on your board of directors? And our board of directors are actually nominated through the economic development entities within the counties. And so those nominations come in to our county commission consortium, and then the county commission consortium either approves or denies those nominations. And so that process happens about once, maybe twice a year, depending on vacancies at the board level. So I've got just some kind of lighthearted questions that I get. So my husband's biggest question to me is, why do I speak in acronyms? It is not unusual for me to say, did you do the IEP for the SB vet on the EFM? And it just, when you first start here, it just blows your mind a little bit. And you're like, I'll never understand what they're saying.
That is exactly what I said my first day.
But it's, do y'all have any crazy acronym sentences?
WIOA.
So did you cover the WIOA for the ITA on the OST, which is that participant going in for a scholarship, building out their budget, putting it into their occupational skills training. There's just a lot. It can be that way.
I know we had one staff member that made a log of like all the acronyms whenever they first started, and I think they stopped after like 200 and something.
Yeah.
So.
And it's just easier. Acronyms are definitely my friend, because everybody deals in a lot of stuff that requires you to say a lot of syllables, and Department of Economic Opportunity or Florida Marketplace, all of that stuff like that can be said in just CFM, DEO.
Yeah.
EF.
Yeah. We try to be efficient.
EF.
So
Yeah.
I do have to remind people to don't, you're not going to hurt my feelings to say slow down. I don't know what you're saying.
Yes.
And people do, but I also try to make an effort to slow down and remember that I'm speaking in acronym. So Takeem a while back did a podcast on our mobile unit, on our big career center mobile unit. It's actually parked right outside here in beautiful rainy North Florida right now. And so a question that I get asked is, is your mobile unit available to rent for football tailgate parties?
Wow.
No.
And so, no, it is not. But actually, I haven't got, when we had our old unit, it had a monitor on the outside, which would have been really cool for tailgating. But we do have an awning outside, and we do have, we can set up tables and chairs and things like that. But it is not available for rent for that purpose. But if you would like to use it, you or your organization would like to use it for the purposes of career exploration, career training, or employment, or job fairs, or community outreach, we will, of course, we are open to those types of activities. So that's our mobile unit, and it is not available for tailgates. So that kind of brings us to a close for now. And Debbie's finally here again.
Hi.
So we're going to close, but I never practice these. Thank you all for bringing your questions to the table, because I know those are questions that customers ask you on a regular basis. And so hopefully we can get some traction and let people know a little bit more about our services, and that they feel more educated about what we do.